Greetings everyone and welcome back to 365 Days of Prog. Today we're going to be reviewing Dernière, Lumière, Avant, Nuit by Silv.
Hi, my name's Naomi. I'm an avid progressive rock fan, but I'm a long ways from knowing all the prog albums out there. But this year, I'm gonna give it a try. This is 365 Days of Prog.
Yeah, Silv, a new name probably for everyone involved over here because they are really unknown if they even are a they, and I'm gonna touch about that in a second, but here are some of my favorite bits from this album. So Silv have quite the following over on Spotify with 4 monthly listeners. That's twice more than what Kaylin Lloyd of Voyager had when we reviewed her. But of course, it is funny and all, but this one is straight going to my Obscure Picks playlist. And the reason I'm saying they is because I'm not entirely sure what we're dealing with. Basically, Silv might be a singular person as well as a band, and I wouldn't know any better than that because as you see, this album came out in 2021, so it's very recent, and well, there's not a lot of information about it. Well, you know, there is information about it, but as you might have recalled, this is in French, so all of the information is in French, which I do not understand, and doing research about this album has proven to be quite a task, so I don't really know anything about today's album when it comes to the backstory, anything other than the fact that it's considered as prog and was released in 2021. So with this album basically being shrouded in mystery, we have to review it based on the music alone. So how is the music of Dernière, Lumière, Avant, Nuit? And well, we'll get to it in a second. So this album not even being present on the prog archives, I couldn't really tell what type of subgenre this was going to be, so from my own personal experience I feel like this was some sort of electronic symphonic prog in some way, but honestly it just verges on prog because most of it doesn't really go all the way progressive. I would have to compare it to Love You to Bits by No Man, if any of you know them, but it isn't as good as that album like in any way, but the sound is kind of the same. And my total overall impression of this album was like Silv knew what prog could and should sound like, but for some reason just didn't go all the way through with it and didn't take the leap in, you know, creating actual good progressive music. And I think the most literal way in which it plays out on this album is the way that they end their songs off. So you have a lot of songs with a lot of potential. They basically create this sort of build-up that rises and, you know, keeps on adding layers, and there's build-up and build-up, and then one final note and the song is over and you're into the next. There's like no pause in between them. So it basically feels like someone's just standing in front of a pool waiting to jump in. It's getting ready, like he's on the verge of doing it, and at the last second he just backs away and just doesn't do it. And that's exactly what this album feels like, and honestly, you know, doing it once, okay, it's fine, it's an artistic choice, but doing it so many times on this album, like more than half of the 11 tracks on here feature basically that unableness to do and take that leap, and it gets kind of annoying. The only track on here that actually takes that metaphorical leap and does better and actually, you know, explores progressiveness in a way that I really like is the last track called Numerology. Now, it's a shame that it comes in the end of this album because honestly I had to sit through all of it, understand that it wasn't so good, and only then did an actual good track appear. But you know what, it's my favorite. It actually is a good thing in a good direction. It has this looping structure, so it starts off with one motif and ends off with the same motif, which is very much known in the prog community, and you know, that track in particular is kind of the saving grace of this album. And the thing is, this album is really reliant on its lyrics, but the thing, as you might have already guessed, I couldn't understand the lyrics. They were in French, I didn't find them online, so going ahead and transferring them somehow from Spotify into a translator and then, you know, trying to read along, that just wouldn't work in a good way. So honestly, I was really expecting the music to be, you know, enough redeeming for this album, but it wasn't. And another thing that has to do with the lyrics, or more specifically with the vocals themselves, if it is a one-person band, then Silv himself is doing the vocals, and it actually sounds half decent. It doesn't sound that bad, but the thing is, he utilizes a lot of filters on his voice, and for no good reason. I'm not meaning to say that he uses auto-tune, maybe it does, but I can't hear it. He uses various filters to enhance the voice, and you know, people that do that, it's fine if you do it once or twice, but honestly, on an entire album, it just gets tiring and really artificial. Just imagine if they took Claire Torrey's solo on The Great Gig in the Sky and put some, you know, reverb and estral filters on it. Like, it would destroy the entire thing. There's something really lovely about raw voice, you know, it's very memorable, and I think the best songs that I know specifically use pure vocals even before the era of autotune and many other filters. So seeing as Silv aren't such a popular band or creator or something as of now, there is a lot of room for them to progress in their own unique sound. Now I think they have a lot of potential, but as I said, they have to take that leap. And if I had to give them one piece of advice, I think I would say this: try being less sterile in the way that you create your music and let your own feelings and creativity guide you. Because at the moment, the music behind them sounds really calculated and it doesn't really seem to take a lot of risks, and I think that the best songs, the best albums by the best creators are the ones who knew how to take their own risks at times in order to either fail or succeed greatly. And when you don't do any of that, you create pretty mediocre music, which is definitely what this album is. So when it comes to the cover of this album, there's actually two covers, and because I don't have a lot of information, I can't really tell you which one is the legit cover for this album. So what I'm showing you here on the side is a cover that I found online, which I believe is the official cover for this album. Although if you search this one up on YouTube, you're actually gonna find a cover that looks more like this. And you can definitely see the difference. One is, you know, pretty good, it is well made, and the other one is, well, it's just the band logo with some text written downwards in a very default font. So I'm gonna look at this particular cover today. So the name of this album actually translates to Last Light Before Dark, and I can totally see the connection over here. I think it's really, you know, showing the sun before it sets. It's the last light before it's dark. I don't think there's much to it. I do really like the color palette. It's very dark, but there are certain tones of purple and orange, which I specifically really like. So I think that's pretty nice, but overall this cover doesn't really evoke much in me, much like the music. I would have to say that the band logo for Silv is kind of cool. I don't think that they need this ring of fire around it. I like it the way it is without that ring. So if they ever create more albums, I'd love to see that logo appear again. So overall, this album was pretty mild. I didn't suffer through it per se. There were some songs which were less than, you know, mediocre, but overall I think it was just like, meh, okay, I don't know what I just listened to. I didn't really suffer the way through, but I didn't enjoy it. So yeah, this one gets a very understandable 5 out of 10. But that's about it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for tomorrow because we're gonna be listening to Octavarium by Dream Theater. But the thing is, it's not gonna happen tomorrow. It's actually gonna happen in half an hour because I'm gonna be streaming, but you won't be seeing this video until a few days after the stream is over, so it doesn't really matter. But the thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create that video of tomorrow's episode together with the audience live on stream. It's gonna be definitely very, very fun, and I'm really looking forward to that. But that's about it, guys. Of course, I want to thank my lovely supporters over on Patreon, so thank you very much to Clay Walnum. You are the best, and if any of you want to support me over on Patreon, you can find the link down in the description or in my about page. But that's about it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for tomorrow. Bye, guys.